Okay, here we are. It's 11 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started here. So can everybody hear me? Does anybody, if you're not, just let me know in the chat box. I'm gonna try to keep an eye on that while I'm doing this. I'm gonna try to keep the questions until the end, unless I see something come up, but because in order to run the meeting and see the chat box, it's a little bit hard to see while I'm running the presentation. So I'll try to check it out every so often, and then at the end I'll go through and answer any questions that I didn't hit while doing this. So let me go ahead and close this window here. Second. All right, so here we are. So we're gonna go ahead and get started now. Go ahead and go here. Sorry, I'm just gonna get my screen and close out all these windows. All right, here we go. All right, so today we're gonna be talking about the virtual open house and tour strategies to kind of get more exposure to your tours and open houses. And this could even also be with like virtual showings. So, you know, like walkthroughs of the property. So these platforms and some of these things can be used either way, and even for like a virtual tour that you can add to your in the MLS. So we'll kind of go through some stuff at the beginning here, and then we'll be talking about selecting the right platform, and that'll be like, do you want to go live or do you want to use like pre-recorded videos? So we'll talk more about that as we get to it. We'll be talking about pre-event marketing and promotion tactics. And then we'll be going more into when you're going live, and then the pre-recorded video and premieres. So if you don't know about premieres, you can actually pre-record a video and kind of give it some sort of live feel by premiere it on, let's say, Facebook. And then people will be able to go at that time and date when it premieres. It'll be the first showing of the video where they can actually chat with you and interact with you while you're watching the video together in real time. So it kind of gives that live feel without it being an actual live video. And then we have somebody's mic there. Then like, whoops, sorry, like after action plan. So once you have your video recorded, or if you did your live video, you should be able to get a recording of it. And you know, how do you use that after the fact? So like I mentioned, you know, if you did like a video tour or virtual tour, and then you want to put that into the MLS, or if you wanted to reshare it out to your sphere or something like that, the people who didn't attend, things like that. So we'll talk more about that, and then we'll go into questions. Okay. So why virtual tours and virtual open houses now? Well, because with all the things going on, and I know it's changing as we speak. So I mean, I started doing this like a week or two ago. But, the rules are a bit different. I mean, they're starting to open things up.
Can't hear.
Hold on here. We have an issue with somebody. Joyce, try, let me see, she can't hear. Sorry, technical issues here. But I'm gonna try to chat with her while I'm talking to you and let her know to disconnect and reconnect. But so things have been going on, obviously, the COVID-19, and you know, the way people are able to interact with people and see properties is changing. So and today it's a little bit different, obviously. So you're going to need to change up the way you're doing things. So some of the things that agents have been doing are moving to like virtual tours, showings, and even open houses to get these properties in front of people who maybe can't go to see the listing or for whatever reason, but still want to see it. Okay. Let me just tell Joyce to try to disconnect really fast. Okay, sorry. All right, so let's go on. So in what agents are seeing around the country, this is from an agent in New York. With the shutdown, they're seeing more sellers requesting that they offer virtual tours or like open houses types of things to expedite the sale. So it's sellers are also kind of pushing agents to do this to some degree. You know, I'm sure you've heard some requests of how you're going to do this for your clients. So this is another reason why this is going on. And then if you're new to video, don't have to worry. There's a couple ways to do it, like I mentioned earlier. So if you're not as comfortable going live and you feel kind of intimidated with that process, you can do like the pre-recorded versions. But remember, like the same thing that makes a successful live event is going to make a good virtual event. So I mean, just be friendly, knowledgeable, know about the property, know about the property and the market, and talk about that kind of stuff to show your expertise. And then you should go off with a pretty good virtual event. And it doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm going to show you some options here in a few minutes. And I purposely went out and found the ones that weren't the best, because it's easy. There's a lot of great, not a lot, but there's a number of good ones out there that I could easily show you. But they might be intimidating to you. Like that's what you have to do right off your first time out. And that's not necessarily the case. I mean, you're going to see some here that by doing something, I mean, your clients are going to be probably happy with you doing something rather than not doing anything. So by just going out there and doing it, and practice makes perfect. So by going and testing it out, and maybe go beforehand, walk through with, have somebody, a family member or something watching you, and can kind of interact with you to kind of get the feel of it. And we'll talk more about that later, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Don't fear it, embrace it. Okay. So some of the things that we want to consider is like, what platform are you going to use to do this video? So there's a couple of different ways to host a video, and it's going to be live video, which would be like, like a Facebook Live, Instagram Live, YouTube Live, Zoom, those types of things. And then you have pre-recorded static videos that you can record with your mobile device, or if you have like a video camera, something like that, you could record it, and then you could, if you were able to do it in one take, you could just take that. Otherwise, you can edit clips together and then kind of compose a video that you can then launch off and do like a premiere or something like that, which we'll talk about later. So what's the difference between these? So like I mentioned, live video is going to be something that is live real time. While you're walking through the property, people are watching you walk through the property. So Facebook offers it, Instagram offers it, YouTube, I believe LinkedIn now, you can go live on LinkedIn. And there's also like video conferencing platforms like we're on now, Zoom, there's WebEx, Google Hangouts, a number of different ones out there that you can use to record and share out your links to your open house or your tour, and people can attend it while you're doing it live. Okay, and some of the pros of this is it gives you like real-time engagement with the potential buyers. Well, if they have a question, or maybe they say, oh, can we look more at this particular thing, then you're able to kind of, you're interacting with them in real time. So you can go through, answer that question in real time, or go through and then, maybe go through and show that thing that they were asking about. But some of the cons are where, if you're not as comfortable being in front of the camera, it's going to be kind of a big adjustment, because it's like you're on the spot, it's live, you're on right now, people are watching you. So it could be a little bit fearful for some, and a little maybe overwhelming. So, so just so you know, that's one option. And let's take a look at like, and then you mentioned Zoom, Facebook Live are going to be some of the options there. So let's look at like an example of like a live video that from Facebook. And I mean, we're just going to go just really quick look at it. We're not going to watch the whole 20 minutes, but you can see we have some dead air, walking out of frame. So this is used with Zoom and Facebook Live, which you could integrate together and do a Facebook Live using Zoom. Let's kind of cut ahead. So he's
Shepherd Berkshire Hathaway here in these unique times.
So
I'm so impressed by what I see so many moms doing in terms of raising their kids.
So if we look at this, he just has a camera like sitting on some sort of a tabletop or countertop, And you could be using something like, let me see, which I'll show you here in a minute once I go with the camera on me, but you can just use a like a little tripod, little mini tripod that, let me stop sharing here and go to my video really quick. And then see like this here, you could do a little tripod that you can mount your camera to and just set it on maybe a table or a desk, and then have your camera sitting straight, and then where you can just kind of film yourself in one location. Or there's these tools like this, like a gimbal, which I got these two together and it was like $120 off of Amazon. And what this will do is it'll allow you to walk through and keep your camera nice and stable while you're walking. Uh-oh. Mic issues here. All right. So this would be like a gimbal here that you can go through and walk, and it'll keep your camera nice and steady while you're walking through a property. And it has some cool little features that will allow you to just click a button, and you know, it might go from landscape to portrait, or portrait to landscape, however you want to do it. Or you can actually select yourself, and if you have it mounted on your little tripod, you can set your tripod up on just like on a table or a desk or a countertop, and then if you select yourself in the frame, it'll follow you around. So this thing with your camera will follow you around a room, and it'll track you while you're walking through, so you can kind of point out some features, and it'll be a nice smooth recording of you kind of walking around the room. And like I said, this was this is what it's like, DJI Memo, and this is the one that I have. Like I said, it's you know, DJIs, they make a lot of the drones and everything, which I know they're kind of in the news lately, but it's a good tool. I really like it. I mean, and for like $100, it's a pretty good option here. All right. How do you get it to track you? Somebody asked. Basically, what it'll do, you have an app for the gimbal, and then what you'll do is you'll just pinch, like select on the screen of your camera while it's tracking it, or while you're looking at the camera. Touch it on like a face, it'll put a little box around it, and then that face will be tracked. It won't allow you to track multiple people, it'll only track one person, but once you select it, just tap on the face, it'll then select it and then begin to track that face. Okay. Gimbal with the first spelling there, Felicia. Okay. All right. So let me go back to screen share here. So as we can see, this isn't perfect. He's kind of like walking through. He's not using any sort of gimbal.
By the way, I love this piece of artwork, which Jim and Diane, if you are watching, I need to ask you the story on that. I forgot.
So, I mean, it's just walking through the house, showing the house. And then with the Facebook Live, you're able to get questions and answers in real time, or questions in real time that you can answer. So you could either answer those live while you're walking through, or you could, you know, follow up with those people later, or you know, however it's going to work out for you in real time. But just so you know, Facebook Live is a good option. And then like with Zoom, you can actually do a Zoom video that will go to Facebook Live. So that would be, if you have any questions about that, let me know, and I can answer some questions about that. But you have to go into your advanced settings in Zoom and then enable it to share to like Facebook. So that would be in your Zoom account. All right, so let's go back here. So live video, yeah, that's just going to be the real time where you're now communicating with the people in real time. Which for the pre-recorded, you're able to record the video using your camera on your phone, or some sort of other video camera, like a DSLR or something like that, where you can record yourself, and then you would take that video and then edit it into a more fully composed video. But you do not always have to you could record it in one take, and I'm going to show you an example of one here in just a second. that is not recorded in, is not like a bunch of clips edited together. It just has like a simple edit on it, which we'll take a look at in a second. But so some of the pros to this pre-recorded video is going to be that it's that you're able to kind of do it in a controlled environment. You can get it, you know, do your walkthrough, kind of go through. Maybe you didn't like that take, you didn't really, you thought you messed up or stuttered over a word or something like that, and you wanted to retake it. You can do that. You can now just start off where you left off, go through, refilm that new little take, and now you're good. You don't have to worry about. You can just use the good take in when you're editing it together. Or if you're just going to do a single take, you know, then you're still able just to redo it without having, you know, you didn't mess up in front of somebody live, I guess is the idea there. But one of the downsides is that you're not able to get that live engagement. So if somebody, you know, wanted to look more at that, you know, something in the kitchen or whatever, you're not able to go back through and you know, kind of answer their questions in real time, unless you're doing a premiere, which we'll talk about later, and how you do premiere. I'll show you kind of the process on Facebook. Okay, so here's like an example of one. It's pretty simple. It's nothing fancy.
So we're here at 1132 Zimmerman, and this is a virtual showing because we're all under quarantine here. And
so basically the only thing that they edited in this one was just putting this little box in here with the address, and then putting a little C up in the top corner, which must be like their, you know, their logo or something. So it's a very simple edit, and otherwise this whole 8-minute and 18-second video is just like one take of them walking through the property.
then you can see the main floor closet. Stairs are just over to this side here. We're shooting footage.
So he's just behind the camera and then walking through. So this is an example of one that's very, it could almost be live since it's just a single take, but there was just a little bit of editing done just to put some text in there. So why I showed this one is because you don't have to get the whole editing thing that, it doesn't have to get crazy editing. I mean, you could, if you record it in one take, you don't need to do any editing at all unless you want to, you know? So don't get kind of hung up on the editing part if that's something that kind of scares you when you hear, you know, film it and edit it, because you don't necessarily have to do a lot of editing. And it's, you know, if you have a nice good take that you want to use full through, you don't have to do any edit. You don't even have to add text or anything on it. You can just use that video as it is. Okay, so I don't want you to get scared by some of this stuff, because I mean, it can be a little bit overwhelming hearing, you know, recording video, editing it, all this stuff, which I'll kind of show you some editing tools later that you can use if you wanted to go ahead and play around with that. But just so you know, you can record the video like in a single take, if you're able to do that, and then go ahead and share that out as a pre-recorded without having to go through and do a bunch of editing cuts together. Okay. All right. So how do you now get people to know about your event? So you'll have to, once you select your platform, you'll need to schedule it. So this would be for like live and premiered. And why that? Because if you're just going to be, you know, recording a tour video, you don't necessarily have to have like a date and time that it's going to be released, unless you're going to be doing that live event or a premiered event where you're going to have to schedule that out. But otherwise, you know, you can just go in, record it, take your clips, you know, put it together however you're going to do it. If it's one clip or multiple clips, you can get it all put together and then share it out. You don't necessarily have to schedule something for that, but then you'll need to market it and promote it. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the pre-event marketing and promotion tactics you can do. So let's take a look at, obviously you're going to want to add it to the MLS, and if you guys aren't aware, they have added the ability for you to add virtual open houses into the MLS now. So instead of it being, you know, just a traditional open house, it'll give you the ability to put in like a virtual open house URL, which you can get from, you know, like if you're doing a Zoom or whatever, you're able to copy that URL for your Zoom account, meeting link and then go ahead and paste that in. So this, why you want to do this is because the major websites are still allowing people from, I looked at them, I mean, I hit some of the top ones, and they're still allowing people to search for open houses on the platforms. So this will allow it to show up in those search results for people who are looking for some sort of open house on a property. Where if it's not in the MLS, then it's not going to syndicate to the different websites. Okay, you can create like a Google or a Facebook event or a Google event. So like in your Google My Business, you can add that, and when people are looking for something going on in a, which I mean now's a weird time for that, but in Google, if they're looking for events, they're able to, this like a Google one will show up in those events that are gonna populate, and when you're looking for things to do in an area. So because Google, has that whole, Google's Google, I mean, if you use Google, Google kind of tends to help you out. So more use of Google My Business is going to be better for you in any other aspect, for if you're listing, so to post them on there and whatnot, it's going to help you show up in search results higher for local SEO when people are maybe searching for an agent in whatever city. And then like Facebook will allow you, let's kind of zoom into this. So when you're creating your event, you're able to, they gave you this option for the online event where you can put in like, you can select live video. So if you were going to do like a Facebook Live, then you're able to do it live, where people will know about the event as the live event. Otherwise, it will have where you can put in like a link. So say you're going to do like a Zoom open house or kind of tour thing, whatever. Then you're able to put in just that Zoom link when you're, so on the event type, online event, you can put the link right from Zoom in there, or you can select the like live video, which will allow you to do either one through a Facebook event. So you're still able, even if you're using Zoom, you can still market this as an event on Facebook. And events, you can promote this and stuff later, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But you're able to promote easily an event through Facebook. And then on the Google, when you're going to do a post on your Google My Business, you just select the event type, and then you can go into the button area where you select, like, sign up, learn more, whatever you want to say, and then you can put a link to your open house right in there, and then publish. Now that will go out into the search engine. So when people are looking for, like open houses in wherever, and if it pops up as an event, then it's going to be another option for it to be seen when people are searching Google. Okay, and then another way is to maybe create like a teaser video. So you can do like, so if you have this event scheduled for Saturday, and you want to do maybe like a little video to invite your people to go. Let's take a look at this one here. This one's just a few seconds.
Here in Winchester, Massachusetts. This home is uniquely situated right in the center of Winchester, but more importantly, on the water in the center of Winchester. Come take a tour February 28th. We're doing an open house 1 to 2.
So this one is for a traditional open house. But it's just a simple way for you to kind of give a little information about the property, invite people to go, and let them know that, hey, you're doing this open house coming up on the weekend. And so, you could even do that as like a live teaser video where, if you do like a live, it's going to pop up and show, try to get people to engage with it. But ideally, you want to do it more than 15 seconds for a live video. But, just something to entice people to want to attend your event. So this was a good little way to do it. You could either, so if you do like a pre-recorded video that you're going to be premiering, you could even take little snippets of that video to make your little teaser. You don't necessarily have to make a whole separate teaser video, but that's up to you. But just an idea of how to kind of get more attendance and engagement with your your virtual events and meetings through these different platforms. Then you could even email blast your like buyer leads or even maybe fellow agents or whatever about your virtual open house or tour. So I'm just going to show you here a quick little kind of high level overview of how you would do this in PRIMEACENT. Because PRIMEACENT does allow you to send emails out to, like open house emails to your database that's in PRIMEACENT. So, and this will apply to kind of, any database where, whatever CRM you're using, you can send an email out and then just send them a link, to your open house, your virtual open house. But I'm just going to kind of show you, since everybody has access to PRIMEACENT and this is one of the free tools that's available to you. I just want to kind of give you a little look at how you do it. So when you're going to PRIMEACENT, you go to the CRM tab up at the top, and then you'd select broadcasts. So once you select broadcast, you'll see, scroll down a little bit, you'll see open house, and you'll click use this. So you'll select your listing, the listing that you're going to be doing your open house on, or if you're going to be doing it for somebody else, which I don't know if anybody's doing it for everybody else right now with what's going on, but once you have your listing added, then really all you need to do is highlight where it says view listing details, where that would send them to the property to look on like, say, the Realty Executives website. But what you could do is just highlight that and click the little link icon, which looks like the little link, like a little chain link. And then that'll give you the ability to edit that, where you can just now put in the URL to your Zoom meeting or whatever meeting you're going to be doing. And then, change view listing details text to like, attend virtual open house, something along those lines, and then hit OK, and then you're done. Now, if somebody clicks that button down here, it's going to say, attend virtual meeting, virtual open house, or whatever you want it to say, and that'll give them the ability to go to that meeting, URL by clicking it. So that's just kind of one of the ways. If you have any questions about this, let me know. But it's kind of a easy way, since it's an automated tool built into PRIMEACENT, that all you'd really need to do is change this little link in here from view listing details to like, sign up or attend, or, join me for the virtual open house, whatever you want it to say, and then just put in that link and then hit OK, and you'll be good to go. And then you can send it off to anybody you want to in your database. So then you could even like boost an event. So if you've created your Facebook event, there's going to be like a boost button up top here where you can, the boost is going to be like a paid feature that you can use that will allow you to get your event out to more people that beyond your friends and followers within your Facebook account. One of the things that you want to remember to do, though, and this is going to be with any ads, for who haven't done this, who haven't really done a lot of these in recent times, because as of the end of last year, they've added this special ad category that you just need to turn that on by clicking the little toggle button here, and then just select housing, because now they're not allowing, you have to basically tell Facebook that you're doing a housing ad, because they have their own kind of rules for following the fair housing. So basically it limits some of your options, but that's okay. You just need to select that, otherwise your ad won't be approved. And I just want you to highlight that, because I know some people have tried to submit ads and they didn't get approved, and I know that was one of the reasons why, was because they didn't have that selected. So if this isn't as familiar to you guys, just remember that that's really the one thing you need to do to make sure that it'll be approved, is just make sure that you select this as a housing category, and then that'll go ahead and allow you to boost this event and get it out to more people. So once they click on it, it'll give them their information needed in order to attend your virtual open house or whatever it's going to be. Okay. So just to remember, practice breeds confidence. So before, whether you're going to be doing the live or the pre-recorded or whatever, you just want to try to walk through and do a rehearsal of your video, of your little tour or open house. Kind of get to know the layout of the home. Try to make sure that you're going to avoid any potential obstacles in your way, and it'll kind of give you a better understanding of, kind of what to hit on when you're doing your tour open house. You'll kind of, uh, um, you see something that you want to highlight, and you can kind of add that to your outline. So bring us to the next one, like outline your bullet points. So kind of when practicing with or without the camera, kind of have a checklist of bullet points. So you can keep this with you too. Don't feel scared if you're, you want to hold that with you and kind of refer back to it. Nobody's going to really care if you, look down at your bullet points really quickly to kind of get you back on track. But, maybe, kind of write a few little things down that you want to hit. So then to make sure you don't forget those while you're walking through the property. Whether it's, the fireplace or the custom this or whatever it is, you can go through and, kind of have a few little things to hit on. And then that way you can keep going and keep moving on. But it'll have at least some sort of direction. I wouldn't say to script it. Scripting might lead you in the wrong direction because you're going to be trying to struggle with what your script was to some degree, especially if it's, if you're doing the script, if it's the same script all over and over and over again, then you can kind of get that down. But for each thing, each property or whatever, it's going to be a little bit different. And if you try to overly script it, it can come off that way. And maybe if you screw something up, then you might be trying to go back and, fix it. But just kind of keep it free flowing and go through the property and try not to script it too much. But obviously if you're, you're going to be using outlines and bullet points, you're going to have some scripting to it, but just try not to overly script it, I guess is my point. And then, so test, you want to, especially if you're going to be going live or you're going to want to, test out, maybe do a, some sort of video, not necessarily that you have to go live, but just test it out, just to see that what's going on. Well, I guess with the live, you'll, the chat features and stuff like that, because when live is going to be a little bit more stressful, especially if you have, you're going to be doing it live, you're trying to remember what you're going to say, and then you have people chatting with you, asking questions and stuff like that. So if you can kind of get somebody to help you, and like I mentioned earlier, get a family member, friend, team member, something like that, to kind of to join you on this little testing video, then you can kind of have them ask a question, how that's going to come through and what you're going to need to look at and how to kind of run this, especially if you haven't done this before. It will, kind of get you ready for the big day. Okay, and then also, if you have somebody there, they can talk about the sound, lighting, if you're walking through the property, doing the test, and you see, that the lights aren't, that this area is too dark or too light or whatever, you'll get some feedback on that. So when you're ready to go live, you're all set. Okay, so test. Even just playing around with it in your free time, even if it's just, if you're gonna do a pre-recorded video and it's just you walking through your own house and kind of getting an idea of how, what camera angles you want, or how the, do you want it to go up higher from an angle, or if you have one of the gimbal things that, how that works, and, all the little buttons on that, that you want to use. So just play around with your tools and get used to them for the big event. Okay? All right. So now going live on big day. So you kind of want to get there early and get set up, make sure that you're ready, because you're going to go through and kind of set the mood. And what we mean by that is kind of go through, in most cases, you're going to want to have all your lights on, to get the lighting set up. You're going to want to have, doors open, so you don't have to open the doors while you're trying to walk through. They're out of your way. You have a nice free flow throughout the home. You're all kind of set and ready to roll. Okay. So once you start your event, I suggest kind of starting off by the street. And I guess two of the ones that we watched, those little clips we saw earlier, two of the three, they started outside. So it kind of sets the mood to kind of let people see what the whole place that they're moving might look like, between, if you show the street or the front yard, is a nice intro rather than starting already inside the house. Okay, so kind of sets the mood also with the property itself by what you're going to be walking into. If you just start inside the house, I mean, you can do that, don't get me wrong, but I mean, this kind of sets the whole picture. So what are you walking into? You're walking into this house, okay? So you want to introduce yourself. So remember, you want to thank people for joining you, encourage them to ask them questions, leave some comments, chat. Make sure to express everybody's happy. You hope that everybody's happy and healthy, especially in this time. So kind of get it going, maybe ask people if they, like I did earlier, can you hear me? Those kind of things to, just kind of make sure all your stuff's ready to go, and you can kind of just, get people to know who you are. Maybe say introduce yourself, your name, your company, and something like that. And then, thank them for joining you and keep going. All right. So once the tour is underway, you want to be, just have fun, as you walk through the home, make sure that you're kind of going through, highlighting some of the key points and talking about the house while you're going through. Just do the things that you would normally do when showing the property in person, but just do it while you're filming. So so that's where it doesn't have to be, hopefully it's not too stressful for you. And that's where the practice comes in, because once you have some practice, you do it a few times, this is going to be second nature to you, and you're just going to be able to go right in and walk through the property, talk about it, and hopefully you can get it into like nice single walkthrough without any kind of errors, especially if you're doing like a pre-recorded video, and that way you can just bust these things out and you don't have to spend a lot of time on them. Once you kind of get the process down, it'll be a quick thing for you to do from here on out. Okay, and then kind of stick to the outline. So while you're going through, if you had some of those key bullet points you wanted to hit on, remember to kind of stick to that and hit those things. Try not to forget the key points that you wanted to hit without going too scripted. Just because that can lead to other fumbles while you're trying to talk and stuff like that, if you're trying to remember what you're trying to say rather than just saying what you need to say. Okay. So now with the pre-recorded videos, some of the tools that you might need here is like a cell phone. So whether you're doing this directly, you're going to be doing like live, or I'm sorry, you're going to be doing it to Zoom. You can go like record your video in Zoom if you wanted to. So you can use your Zoom app in order to record that, or you can just record it through the regular like video recording on your phone. So whichever route you want to go, that way will give you a recording of the video. So you don't necessarily have to use a cell phone. So, I know some older phones don't have great video. So maybe you have like a better kind of regular camera, like a DSLR or a HD video camera that you want to use. You don't have to use a cell phone for like a pre-recorded video. You're not necessarily having to connect to the internet to share it out live. So you can record this on, some sort of, DSLR camera or a video camera and get that file that you can then, upload to wherever you're uploading it, or edit those clips together. And then the other thing that if say you are going to edit this, you're going to need some sort of editing app. So we can take a look at some of these editing tools. Wondershare Filmora. This one is like it's got a lot of features. It's not like the most advanced, so it's good for beginners. It has, not the most, the hot new things of the day aren't necessarily in there. But if you're getting used to this and if you haven't done it before, you don't necessarily really need like multi-camera views and 3D stuff and all these things that you're never going to use. So this one's a good kind of budget-friendly option for kind of doing some of your own video editing. Adobe Premiere is another option here, and Adobe Premiere is more of like a advanced level one, where it's going to kind of give you, it's going to be harder to use, but I just want to mention it because I know that one, this one is kind of known as one of the top ones out there. So if you are looking for different video editing, you'll probably see this one as one of the most, it's not, you know, what real film editors use, in major motion picture productions, but for tons and tons and tons of people that are putting out videos nowadays, like on YouTube and Facebook and those types of places that aren't really, that aren't like super high budget. Adobe Premiere is one of the top platforms for that. So it's gonna be more for an experienced editor, but it isn't something that if your goal is to learn to edit, this is also one that is a good one to get going with if you really want to kind of add that to your skill set. Splice. So here's two here, Splice and InShot. Splice is going to be one for like an iPhone. I love Splice. Splice is probably my favorite app for video editing that's on my phone. It is a great free app that you can use that allows you to edit clips together. You can take, cut off the ends of clips. You can take the middle of a clip. You can, add transitions between clips. You can put text over the video. You can put emojis on the video. It's a great little app that you can use from your phone or tablet in order to edit video right there. And it's free. So it's for iPhone users, it's a go-to app. And then InShot is one of the top ones that's for Android. So I wanted to include Android in here. I personally haven't used it before, but I know that it's one of the ones that, I was kind of trying to research it, and it was coming up on the list of one of the best free options available for Android. So you can try it out. And with these two, you can also add like additional audio. So if you wanted to just kind of pre-record you walking through the property and then add like an extra layer of you just talking about, so say maybe you didn't want to record it while talking, like the walk through the property. So you can actually record the video and then after the fact, go through and kind of narrate your walkthrough of the property. So just something to think about there. So those are some of the editing tools that you can use. Then here's some additional little tips to remember. So I recommend this, but I know, some people who are doing like a lot of stories and live, they like to go use, like a vertical format, but horizontal is going to be better in my opinion for like long-term, for like reusing your tool, your video. So say you wanted to, so basically hold your camera horizontally rather than vertically, so you have like a wide view. And that, if you watch enough of these videos, you'll notice that when people are doing just the landscape, or I'm sorry, portrait, or the vertical, it's very tight on their body, especially when they're walking through, and you get to see them awesome, but you don't really see the property that great. So so that's just something to think about. And then when you're trying to repurpose it, so say you're going to be posting this up to YouTube or something that you're going to share out on your branded tour link in the MLS, it's going to display a lot better as like a horizontal or like a landscape video in like a YouTube. It's going to fill that whole box for the YouTube video rather than being one little strip down the center. So I mean, there's a time and place for each one. Don't get me wrong. Vertical portrait is good for certain situations, but for something like this, I would recommend doing the horizontal or landscape. Okay. So if you can get an extra person to hold the camera for you, especially if you don't have like a gimbal or something, where you're trying to walk through and talk and it's going to depend on how you're doing it, because I mean, if you're doing it live or you're trying to answer questions, it's going to be hard for you to have somebody videotaping you, because you're not going to see any of the questions to answer unless they're kind of feeding you, giving you feedback in real time. Okay. Filming. So remember to try to keep just the camera on your phones. if you guys can see me, there's like there's the main screen of your phone with a camera that kind of points to you, and then there's the camera that points out the back of your phone. The one that points out the back of your phone is going to be the higher quality video recorder, or video camera on your phone. So the one that's pointed back to your face, if you're looking at the screen of your phone, that one's going to have like lower quality kind of video that it's going to take. So when you're recording it, always use the camera that the side that's pointing, just like if you're holding your phone, just if you're looking at the screen, just keep it that way, because the camera that's pointing out of the back of your phone is going to record at a better rate. Okay, just to keep that in mind. And then also, if you have some sort of team member or somebody, family friend or whatever, that can kind of plant a question in there, especially if you're doing this live, where they can kind of get you, or maybe you forgot something that they can throw back into you. Maybe you had a, there was a key point that is on your outline that you missed, and then they can maybe throw in that little, plant something in there, chat with you, while you're doing your live video, and then you can go back and hopefully that'll spark your memory to go back and hit up the thing that you forgot, or they can just ask a question to kind of get the questions going. So maybe you asked for questions, nobody really got anything in, then they can kind of throw one in there, maybe get the ball rolling. So it's a way for you to kind of potentially, get the ball rolling, or hit up on something that maybe you forgot, but you can, maybe get a little help with somebody as like a team member, family member, or something, who can kind of throw in a question for you in your chat. Okay, so we want to talk about the Facebook Premiere. So I talked about this earlier, but Facebook Premiere is where, or you could do this on YouTube as well. And what it is like, say now you have your pre-recorded video all done. You have, however you wanted to edit it, whatever, but you wanted to kind of get the level of engagement through like a live video, but it's a pre-recorded. So in order to kind of create some excitement around it, you can create a premiere. And a premiere, this is for videos that haven't been on like Facebook before. So if you've already uploaded it, they might not let you do the premiere if they catch it. But so basically what you need to do is you have to use your business page. So you're not able to premiere a video on your personal profile. You're only able to do it on your business page. So basically when you're on your business page, if you just click the photo video, it's going to pop up this little window over here to the right side of the screen. That's going to say, so we see our little video thing to the left there. You see a little film reel, or like film strip here. And then below that, once it's been uploaded, it's going to give you this option to hit the post scheduling, and additional options are available in publishing tools. So you're going to want to click on that little blue publishing tools link, which will bring you over to this section over here, where now you're able to put your title, your description. You can tag maybe your personal profile, since you're going to be the one doing it. So you can tag yourself, and then so that'll easily give you the ability to share this premiere out to your other friends. And then maybe tag the location. You can put additional tags in there for like real estate listings, that kind of thing. So once you put in all of your kind of title, description, tags, that kind of thing, you click next, and it'll bring you over to where it says choose how to publish your post. So instead of doing a video post, you'll select premiere. Okay, and then that will allow you to then schedule the date and time you want it to premiere, and where you can upload like a little imagery, or a photo for your premiere, which I have over here. Like this, I just threw something together really quick yesterday for this example, like virtual open house, just like put some text in there or whatnot. And then it's going to, we can put additional text in here, and that now will be something that people will see in your, in your timeline, that you can share out to your friends and family, or you can, try to share it out to get groups, that kind of thing, to get additional exposure. But now you have your premiere. So you'll have like this little thing that's going to be counting down to when the video is premiering. And then once you go the premiere, you're able to, you know, when it's the time and date of the actual event, then, you know, obviously you're going to want to be there to be with the people that are also attending it with you. And then this is where the video is going to play, and then people are able to chat and you can reply. So if people have any questions about the, you know, the property or whatever, you know, they might have, they're able to chat those in real time while you're all watching it together. So, you know, say you have a 15-minute walkthrough, 20-minute walkthrough that you're doing, you're able to, you know, sit with them live real time for those 20 minutes and then, you know, answer any questions that they have while people are watching this premiere for the first time on your channel. And then you could also invite additional people to watch while this is going on. Okay, so it's a good way to use a static pre-recorded video in order to get some sort of live engagement. All right. So now that you have all of your videos recorded and you know, you went live, maybe you downloaded your live video or you wanted to reshare it, you know, you can now kind of repurpose your content in order to kind of get a little bit more traction out of it. So you can share that video back to Facebook. And like I mentioned earlier, maybe you can, which I forgot to put it on here. You can take that, maybe you did a virtual showing or walkthrough where you can now put that in your branded tour section of the MLS. Since you'll be on it and talking, and it might be on your YouTube channel, that kind of stuff with your information on there, then you'd want to keep that in the branded tour. But that'd be one way. You can post it to Instagram, you can upload it to YouTube. You can even maybe premiere it on YouTube as well. You can add it to your website. You can follow up with your clients who maybe didn't attend your little premiere or your live, and then follow up with an email for some of your buyers with a link to that tour. You could also invite the ones who didn't attend to watch the tour as well. So there's a number of different ways you can repurpose this by, you know, promoting it on Facebook or Instagram or those types of places, and, you know, just getting it where you can in order to kind of reuse this video, because you went live, you know, in some cases you're going to get more people who watch the live recording than you actually watch it live. So you're going to want to reshare that out, even though, so and longer you go on like a live, you know, you might get some more engagement too. So like I mentioned earlier, with like that 15-second little little teaser video, that's really not what Facebook Live is meant for. It's more for like kind of longer videos. So like if you're doing like the walkthrough or something that's 10, 15, 20 minutes that you're going through a property, that's going to be where you get people who come in, come out, you know, more people adding in, where you can kind of entice them with to get questions and stuff like that. But then once that is finalized, then you can have that recording that you can now reshare out. And then one thing you might want to do in that is kind of when you're asking people to leave you, like ask you questions and say like a live video, maybe also say, and the people who are watching this, the recorded version, leave a question in the chat box below and I will follow up with you with your question. So now you're kind of engaging people who were watching it live, and then maybe the people that now, when you reposted it after the recording of it, you can kind of get them some more additional engagement by you know, that little call to action, so to speak, within your video, just asking people who are watching the recording to leave a chat, to leave a question or comment or whatever in the chat box. So just another way to kind of get a little bit more out of these virtual events is, you know, by repurposing it after the fact. But most of all, just be yourself, have fun, you know, bring personality, your sense of humor, you know, your market expertise. Make sure that, you know, just engage people and your fans and followers in order to try to get that listing sold. And by doing this, you know, I don't know how much longer stuff's going to be going on, but you know, for the time being, this is, you know, these virtual meetings and tours and and open houses and stuff like that are one way to kind of get a little bit more exposure for your listing. So let me open this up now for some questions. Let me bring over the chat box here. Give me a second. All right, so I see some in here. Okay. Does the video need to be approved by a broker before posting? I mean, I've never been asked that before. Nobody's ever asked us for approval, but if
Richard, can I jump in?
yeah,
It's Jimmy. I answered David in that chat box, and I just said make sure that you're following fair housing guidelines, like you brought up about Facebook. So no, this is perfect for a senior or a single person. Don't make those distinctions. Watch about walking distance, etc. So pretty much the same rules, but it would be a good idea to have somebody review it because we don't always catch our own mistakes.
all right. Okay, so somebody asked if we need like a strong signal for Facebook Live or Zoom videos. Yeah, you kind of do need. So you'd need like a internet connection at least, and then better the if you see some people's the live videos where they're fuzzy and blurry, it's usually because they don't have a good internet connection. And then once it might 10 seconds in, it kind of clears up and looks better. That's usually because their internet connection is bad. So that would be something that you'd want to test out prior to doing it, to kind of get a sense whether or not a live video versus a pre-recorded is going to be the best option for you. Because if you get you're in a spot with horrible cell phone service, then that's going to be hard to do a live video. All right, let's see. Is it joining? Do we have a handout? Yes, I'll be sharing out all these slides after this. So I'll share that out after this, and I'll be sharing out the recording as well as the slides. All right, tell us what you do to stop, relocate in the same house and start again for video. So if you needed to, you're doing a video and then you're recording maybe one room and then you're finished in that room and you want to stop and go to another room. So what you can do is you can just, there's a couple routes you can go, I guess. So you could just stop recording and then start recording again once you get to the other one, and then just edit those two clips together. Or you would just record, from one place, while we're walking through, and then just snip it out that center section between those two clips, the one where it ends at the one room and then it starts at the next room. You just cut that out and then put the two clips from the ending to the new beginning where you want those together with that little walk from one room to the other, just snippet that out, and that can be done with the editing programs. Depending on which program you're using, you'd be like a snip is what it's called. So you can either clip the ends off or you snip the middle. So you just want to snip out or just clip off the ends, I guess you'd want of the beginning and the end, and then just keep the part that you want. Okay. Anybody have any more questions here? And I mean, I can do maybe another video. It's just the problem with like editing kind of videos is that whichever tool you're going to be using for editing is going to be a little bit different. So it's a little hard to show you just one tool unless everybody's using the same tool for editing. But I mean, usually what you can do is you can just, I would probably myself, if I were you, just stop recording at the one. Once you finished up, hit stop, and then just go to the next scene and then start recording. And then that way you can easily just put those two together in a little, if you have an iPhone, you just use that splice, or if you have the Android, use the Android app there sorry, I forgot what it was because I'm not an Android person, but which one was that? That was InShot. So that you'd be able to just put those two clips together and finish up your video. And with those two, you're also able to put in, like I said, like the voiceovers, and then maybe some text that if you want to put like, kitchen or bathroom
It's
or
12 o'clock.
whatever it may be, you're able to go ahead and edit some of that text. So I don't see any more questions here. So if anybody has anything, they have any other questions, just go ahead and let me know. Let me see here. You can give me a call or email, or if you want to do a virtual meeting, you can go to in my email signature line. If you see that, you're able to go ahead and click the little link in the bottom, and that will schedule a Zoom meeting with me. So you can go ahead and do that, or just go to calendly.com/Richard Neville, and then that will allow you to go through my available spots in my calendar and then schedule a Zoom meeting for like a one-on-one meeting, or give me a call or email, and I can. One last question.
Can I ask you live, Richard?
Yeah.
I may have missed this in the very beginning. How much time should these be? What's the recommended time? Because this is kind of a bigger than 1 minute.
Yeah, so I mean, it depends on what you're doing exactly, but I mean, if you're going to be doing like a virtual tour that you're going to be posting into like the MLS, then I probably would keep that down under a few minutes, like 3 minutes or something like that. Might be a little on the long side even for something like that, versus like if you're doing like a virtual open house, that is probably gonna be between 10 to 20 minutes, I would say. And then, if you're just kind of doing like a virtual showing, that's gonna, kind of be maybe within that same time frame. If you're going through the whole house as like a walkthrough, I would say at least 10 to 20 minutes is probably gonna be within that area there. Because I just by, looking at a million of these over the years, I mean, some of the, I think that's a good number. 15 minutes might be like an optimal right there. That's where a lot of them I see are at.
You just mentioned MLS. Do you know if we can have an unbranded live person tour? Can the agent actually be in the video of the property? Or do I need to check on the MLS rule about that?
I know I heard their answer to this before. The thing is, it just depends. So if you're not if your name isn't mentioned, those kind of things, and if you're not, if you're not,
if it's unbranded,
if it's unbranded, yeah, if it's unbranded, from what I understood from somebody else asked the same question on one of the SRAR ones that I was watching, and they said as long as the agent isn't like promoting themselves in it. And it also depends.
Felicia Grady, I'm Felicia Grady.
Yeah. And if you have your logos and stuff, sign in the yard, those kind of things are gonna kind of violate that whole thing. But if you're just going in and talking about it without like, introducing yourself as the agent and stuff like that, then you can get away with it.
Okay.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I appreciate you attending this, and I will share out the video and the slides here. If not by the end of the day, I will get them out first thing out in the morning. Okay. So thanks, everyone. I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you later. Bye now.